What's good? It's the King of '06, and I am here today with a breakdown video. Now, I don't usually do these types of videos on my channel, revealing my face and everything, and I'm a bit down and out today, but fuck it, I gotta do what I gotta do, because as soon as I heard this news break yesterday, man, I knew I had to get a video on this out sometime soon, eventually. You can tell by the title of the video. I know all my fellow Seahawks fans out there, sad and down right now. But at the end of the day, the NFL is a business. That's just how these trades go sometimes. So as of yesterday night, officially, with Russell Wilson approving the trade and getting his physical done, the Seahawks have traded Russell Wilson to the Broncos. But for who exactly? Well, I'm about to break that down. So on the Seahawks side of things, we'll start with Noah Fant, the tight end. Iowa always seems to produce good tight ends over the past few decades, and Noah Fant is not an exception to that. That man is a beast. When healthy, he can produce very well. On the Seahawks side of things, we still have Gerald Everett from last year. We have Colby Parkinson. So it's going to be a little weird to see what we do with those two. But Noah Fant should be a mainstay of the offense for a long time. And I'm very stoked to see him get reps in as the starting tight end for the Seahawks possibly. Next, Shelby Harris, D lineman, an automatic upgrade over, I think it was Brian Monet that was our starting D tackle last year. He should definitely be a benefit to our pass rush. We desperately need that as a defense. And he is an excellent run stopper from the tape I've seen on him. So that is always a great fill as well. And we got a first round pick from this year's draft and next year's draft. We have 2 second round picks from this year as well, and a late round pick from this year as well, along with Drew Lock. We shouldn't keep Drew Lock. I don't think we're going to. I think the most optimal thing that we have to do is we should wait and see how this Deshaun Watson case plays out. Now he's going through some very crazy allegations right now, and they're set to, be done by April 1st. If he is found innocent, whenever he's able to return to the league, we need to be the first team calling the Texans and trying to get a trade for him, possibly package those 2 first round picks in Drew Lock and send them over to the Texans for Deshaun Watson. If we could get our hands on Deshaun Watson, Deshaun Watson is a sort of Russell Wilson built at the quarterback position anyway. He doesn't truly have a deep ball on the level as Russell Wilson, but he's basically the same player. Can go out there, extend plays, will to win, and everything like that. But you never know. We could also end up just keeping all those picks intact and keeping Drew Lock for a rebuild. If we do have to become a rebuilding or like a middle of the pack team this year, and prepared for it, that does seem like the route we're taking too, because we did make a crazy follow-up trade, or we did make a follow-up move and release Bobby Wagner last night too. Staple of the Seahawks defense for years. So that very much shocked me as well. So we could end up going towards the rebuild stage, but you never know. And then on the Broncos side, they get Russell Wilson, obviously, and a 4th round pick from us. And automatically, they've leveled themselves up to contenders for a Super Bowl, possibly. they already had a stout defense led by Justin Simmons and Pat Surtain II. They have a very good receiver core for their standards. With Sutton being healthy, you're getting Jerry Jeudy back. You have Tim Patrick and KJ Hamler occasionally. And then you have Noah Fant gone, but you have another stud tight end in Albert Okwuegbunam. And then, not to mention the two-headed monster in Melvin Gordon III and Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams is gonna become a superstar at some point. He was literally the Broncos' leading rusher last year, in spite of Melvin Gordon being the feature back for that team. And now you have Russell Wilson being plugged into all of that, and it just really does make them dangerous. So, in reality, it's kind of a win-win trade for both sides, but you never know truly how these things go. But and the crazy thing is this is literally just the surface of what has happened over the week, this entire week in the NFL so far. I get back in here, and not even an hour before the news of a Russell Wilson trade comes out, you have news of Aaron Rodgers getting a $50 million a year contract that would make him the highest paid player by salary in NFL history. But then, with his normal mysterious persona, you have him coming out a few hours later and saying that's not actually the contract. But I can't really take anything Aaron Rodgers says as full value. He's always been so vague with the media, especially over the past couple years. And it's just been proven time and time again. You can never truly take what he says at face value. But I mean, you have Adam Schefter coming out saying that probably isn't the deal, but they are working on a contract that will eventually make him the highest paid player in NFL history. So it probably can't be too far off from that $50 million mark. And with news of Aaron Rodgers staying with the Packers, they franchise tagged Davante Adams too, is basically like a 1-year placeholder for a future contract extension for him. You know, wherever Davante Adams is depends on where Aaron Rodgers would end up. They're boys, you know. They're gonna go along with each other the entire time. But and then you have some other notable names that got franchise tagged. You got Cam Robinson, O-lineman for the Jaguars. Not really enough tape on him to really get a sense of how good he is or not. I don't follow linemen like that anyway. You have a fairly good tight end in Dalton Schultz getting franchise tagged for the Cowboys. You have Jesse Bates III getting franchise tagged. A very huge part of that Bengals defense this year. And then you have Mike Gesicki, tight end from the Dolphins, getting franchise tagged too. I think that's a great move. But out of any person that got franchise tagged to this point, I think the one that makes the most sense would be Chris Godwin from the Buccaneers. Because, like, say I'm a person that works in the front office and I'm watching the Bucs play this season, and in week 14, nearing the end of the season, and Chris Godwin suffers an ACL injury, a season-ending injury, it would probably be the wisest thing to go ahead and give Godwin a placeholder and see what he can do this year, rather than coming off a season-ending injury make him one of the highest-paid wide receivers in the NFL. You wouldn't want to do that as a front office person. That would truly end up costing you, because you don't know how well he might recover from that injury. You don't know if Godwin will be the same player after that. So I think that's the smartest franchise tag of this week so far. In some other news, you have Mike Williams getting a 3-year, $60 million contract after getting career highs in every major wide receiver stat. I like that move. Mike Williams has always been a fairly good wide receiver, but when he needed to step up this year, he did, alongside Keenan Allen and all those guys. So that's pretty good. Then you have Calvin Ridley getting suspended all the way for the rest of this season, and he can't get reinstated until the 15th of February 2023. It really boggles my mind because he really just he was gambling on NFL games, but you really put in $1,500 and now you're going to lose $11 million of your salary for a measly less than 2K. And what's worse is that $11 million is going back to the Falcons. It's not going to count against them. So you're not costing them anything by being out. But it's going to be weird to see because what team is going to want to pick you up after that? And personally, I think the NFL is being generous because I contrast it to the Pete Rose situation all the way back in 1989 when he was betting on MLB games and all those things. That man got a lifetime ban. Banned from the Hall of Fame, banned from ever associating with the MLB ever again. So, the NFL could be doing that, but it's kind of a contrast between 33 years as well. Sports gambling was way less accepted back then than it is now. It's almost a part of the game if you're not playing the sport personally. So, some people were saying it's harsh, but the NFL could be doing way more if they really wanted to, Then, just a few days after it was said that the Cowboys will probably release Amari Cooper to free up $10 million in cap space, now they're going to restructure Zack Martin and Dak Prescott's contracts to free up $22 million more dollars. They're one of the lower teams in cap space in the NFL, so they could definitely use the money. One of the smarter moves made by Jerry Jones in his time as a general manager of that team instead of being cheap. And then following, Russell Wilson going to the Broncos. Now, as much as I am a Seahawks fan, I might have to concede and say that the AFC West is now the strongest team, or rather, the strongest division in the league now. Because you have the new up-and-coming Broncos now. All they needed is a quarterback, and they have one of the best in the league around that excellent team of theirs. And you have the Chargers with Herbert, Mike Williams, previously mentioned, Keenan Allen, and Derwin James, always making waves in that division. Literally just a timeout, a non-called timeout away from getting into the playoffs themselves. And then you have the Raiders easily being the worst team in that division, but they've always given all of those teams a run for their money. And literally swept the Chiefs a couple seasons ago. They had some close games against them last year. They beat the Chargers to get in the playoffs in a very tight-knit game when both of them could have just tied. So it's like, the Raiders are a dangerous team as well. And let's not forget about the Chiefs literally just being one half away from making the Super Bowl again and always a threat to make the AFC Championship every year. They literally have, ever since Patrick Mahomes has got there, they have made the AFC Championship. That's ridiculous. But the NFC West gets weaker. But again, if we can get our hands on Deshaun Watson, that would make things a little bit better. Though, you in terms of quarterback talent in the NFC West, you still have Jimmy G until the 49ers choose to do whatever they're going to do with him. But yeah, I don't know. But on that note, I'll wrap it up. if you want to like the video, you can. If you want to subscribe, you're more than welcome to. I'm not gonna do the typical YouTube thing and say, "Oh, like the video right now, subscribe right now." It's not what I do. You have your own choice. As a person, that's not why I started uploading videos. I'm not gonna do that to anybody. And on a final note, I guess a quick shout out to Russell Wilson, man. You know what I'm saying? 10 seasons, a Super Bowl, 9-time Pro Bowler, most wins by a quarterback in their first 10 years of being a starter in NFL history. You know, he blessed this team with so many great years. Rarely ever got injured, too, up until last year. So as a fan, I can't thank him enough for that. I wish him nothing but the best in his, the rest of his career. If he wins there in Denver, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit disappointing because he could have won with us. Could have stayed with us, man. Seattle team's always losing somebody good, but hey, it's a dub nonetheless. So Russ, go into Denver, man, and fly mile high. Peace.